Morning and hello to all of my fellow St. Margaretians. I'm here in the redwoods of Northern California. Um, Things are troubling now, as Richard's sermon told us. But I wanted to kind of back up a little bit with creation care, just a bit, if you would allow me this morning. Um, because I want to give you a couple of messages from me. One is that nature is a gift that God provides, and it gives a restoration to our souls and inspirations for challenges such as these in our lives. So last week, Richard also reminded us that Lent is also a time of preparation. I love spring, and nature provides us an opportunity for that preparation. Each of us can make a difference, and each one of us does not have to fix everything that's wrong in the world. We each can do our part. So relax. First, how did a kid from a suburb of Oklahoma City who just loved to fight with his brother and play with his cars and trucks, how did he turn into a person who loves nature so much? Maybe it was going fishing with my grandpa, sitting all day by a slow-moving muddy river, or maybe it was family camping trips. Or was it going unprepared on a snowy backpack trip in the high Sierra in the Yosemite, reading from John Muir's My First Sermon in the Sierra by headlamp under a clear star-filled sky? Who knows? But at some point, somehow, someone helped me truly open my eyes, and what I saw was God's creation. I eventually became a ranger at Chickasaw National Recreation Area, where my parents used to take us camping. And I worked at parks Muir Woods in California and Cape Cod in New England and other places. At some point, I saw a bigger picture. Many of the things like plants and wildlife I saw and loved didn't really need me or humans at all. We didn't create them. They were here long before us and might just be windows to an existential presence. As Muir once said, somewhere before evolution, there was an intelligence that laid out the plan. And evolution is the process, not the origin of the harmony. You may call the intelligence what you please, whatever. I cannot see why so many people object to just calling it God. We read and repeat the word of God every week here in the sanctuary. But God is seen in so many other ways other than just the words. Unlike tulips that I plant in my garden or the cherry blossoms on the tidal basin, as beautiful as they are, people planted them. They're not native to Washington, D.C. Dogwood trees and spring wildflowers like trout lilies and Virginia bluebells were here long before even the indigenous peoples. So what can we learn from these gifts that God gave us? In the Park Service, we have a motto that says something like campfire that we use for campfires and nature walks. It goes like this: through education, understanding, appreciation. Through appreciation comes protection. That concept is true for civil rights and justice as well as conservation. I want to introduce you to one of God's gifts you may or may not know about. This bird here is actually the wood thrush, which is the DC's official bird. It's not a huge bird of prey like the eagle, and it's not even beautifully colored like cardinal. In fact, its Latin name sadly translates to weasel colored, but it does have this nice spotted breast. Its song in spring is peacefully stunning, and I had hoped to play it for you today, but my technical skill, even with Ray helping me, didn't quite make it. But if you look on the bulletin, there's a link, which is a great site for learning about all kinds of birds, and you'll see a video of this bird and hear it singing, and you'll recognize it when it comes this spring. This bird is kind of amazing, actually. It comes here to DC in the middle of a wonderful mixed hardwood forest in the Northeast that extends all the way to Canada. These forests are the maternity ward for this bird. The rest of the year, it lives in Central America and down to Panama. So imagine this bird you hear in spring and summer may have flown about 1,400 miles, even though it's only about 7 inches long, and it finds suitable forest and habitat here. It will raise its young, the nestlings together, eating bugs and tiny critters on the forest floor. And once they're ready to travel, they all fly back to places like Belize. Imagine that, flying 1,400 miles or more just so you can live where there are bugs to eat. But also, we here in DC provide the maternity ward, the place where it can nest. I think my life is difficult until I think about this poor bird and the challenges it must have. Unfortunately, climate crisis, if the scientists are correct that we may have an expected 3-degree temperature increase, it will reduce this bird's range habitat by 57%. and we probably wouldn't have it in DC anymore. But right now, the birds are declining because of predators, like the predators that stalk them while they're eating on the ground, both native predators like fox, but also our pets like feral cats. Right now, the estimated decline has been about 62% since 1966. So we can help this bird just by being more appreciative and thinking about ways we can protect it. We're not one, so now I'm getting to that one step in the Park Service, when we say we may be more educated and now we can appreciate. Go out in spring and listen for this bird and others. Again, another John Muir quote, climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees. The winds will blow their own freshness into you, and the storms their energy, while cares will drop away like the leaves of autumn. Then you can be rejuvenated to do what you can do as a person. As much as I wish it were true, I cannot single-handedly stop the climate crisis. I can't assure civil justice for all, and I can't stop wars. I do believe, though, that conservation and the work of our work is a little bit like karma. Everything counts. I might not be able to stop the climate crisis, but I can help. I can do things that will help this bird live in DC longer. And my email address is in the bulletin as well. And you're welcome to send me any notes or questions or thoughts you have. But maybe we use a little less plastic so the oceans are plastic free. Maybe I write to the city council to ask them to leave woods for our district bird. DC has asked and been given many acres of national park lands, and they developed them. Maybe there's enough development of open spaces now. Or be like Joni Mitchell, write a song. Write a book, write a poem, do something that changes the world that little bit, but don't take the cheap way out. Do the thing that's also more difficult. So go out this spring, hear that call, and know that a person did not teach a wood thrush to sing, but maybe God did. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.